Buckle up, everybody. Let's see what we can do here.
Right? Okay.
Well,
20th time's the charm. Let's try it. Try it one more time.
I'm so glad you have a sense of humor, Colleen. Thank you. All righty then. So,
You just got your your Neil's email back to you. It's like
oh,
you're not the only one that reads these emails.
oh. Okay, so getting back to what we're doing, Nicole, as
All right.
we wander again. So tonight we have another exciting guest that we are very, very excited to get the chance to speak to and get her story and share it with you. So, welcome to Beers and Biscuits, Colleen. Would you like to take a moment to share a little bit about yourself?
Oh boy. So my name's Colleen. I have two dogs right now. Vesper, my 4-year-old lab mix, and then Sparrow, my 5-month-old GSP. Living in the city with my two dogs in an apartment. Right now, uh, I do a lot of trick training with Vesper. We've been getting into dog sports the last couple of years. So we've done scent
Mhm.
detection, dog diving, a rally in several different venues. And then I recently got my GSP Sparrow to do all those things as well, and then some additional things with her. Um, I started getting into dogs and dog training when I was 15 and a half, 16 with our senior family dog, Lupo. And then a year and a half later, we got Vesper. And then I continued all of that with her. I pretty much learned everything I know on the internet. I didn't I didn't have access to any like in-person stuff. I couldn't drive at that time, obviously, because I'm 21 now. So that was cool. I didn't get my license till I was 17, so I couldn't drive anywhere and do any of the stuff.
Yeah, but earlier, Nicole and I were talking, and the rain kept throwing me off, and then there's a ceiling fan, so lose that train of thought. But as long as it comes back, that's all that matters.
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Well, I think that's really
I'm
cool,
trying
though.
to think of where I was.
To
Yeah.
have access to a lot of this on social media and on the internet in general
Mhm.
now. I think
Right.
it's a really neat way that the industry is going. More people can do things with their
Mhm.
dogs because of it.
Mhm. Yep. I was okay. So I was gonna go on and say because of like I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do at that time. You know, you're a teenager trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And then I just kind of stumbled upon a trainer online and I fell in love with everything she did. And I found my passion in dog training. So that is where I am currently trying to head towards, is more towards a professional dog training career. Um, I do want to go to a specific like dog training school before I like try and publicly put myself out there to train other people's dogs. I just don't feel comfortable doing that without any actual formal education because the internet can only teach you so much. Um, and yeah, it's been really, really fun. It'll probably be a few years down the road before I can reach that point, but we will get there.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm also interested to see what like genre of dog training I might get into because I know that it is actually a very people oriented profession,
Mhm.
and that I am not.
Yeah, me either.
So, but I know there might be a few like genres where that might not be as um, prevalent or as essential to have
Yeah,
to
for sure.
coach people all every day.
I mean, I think definitely if you were looking into like doing stuff with like a rescue or a shelter,
Mhm.
something like that, you wouldn't necessarily, I mean, you're still going to have to deal with people. There's just no way around that. But in terms of like dealing with guardians,
Mhm.
kind of dropping that one piece of it off, um, I mean, I think a lot of us probably start there too, like start with rescues and shelters. Um, because it can be intimidating, you know, going into somebody's house and, trying to, fend off that imposter syndrome of should I really be here talking to these people? So I feel like that's a good place to start.
You know what I'm about to do to you, Nicole, now, though, right? I'm gonna reel you in for a minute. I'm gonna reel you in.
Oh my goodness.
We're
Go
gonna
ahead,
get
Karen.
we're gonna
Go
get
ahead,
to
Karen.
the good places to start, and we're gonna applaud her for everything she just said. But before we start hitting her with all the heavy stuff,
True, true.
we gotta kick this off with our icebreaker questions for you.
Mhm.
Oh,
Nicole, do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Um, I can go first if you want. I have
Do it.
one.
Yeah.
All right, Colleen. If you
mm,
had a pet parrot,
mhm.
what would be the first thing you would teach it to say?
I mean, I would probably teach it to like say,
Maybe
so
I would teach it to yell for help.
that's a good one.
But then wouldn't you like, you have a parrot in your apartment and it's just yelling help, help all the time and like, your neighbors are like thinking something's going on in there and you know,
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Okay. I'd laugh.
that would be funny actually. Speaking of, it's funny that I asked that question. I didn't even realize it. But yesterday I went to we have like a wildlife center here that also has like exotic, it's like an exotic pet vet. Um slash wildlife center. And I went in and I was looking to buy something and I hear this like it sounds like not a smoke alarm, but like a CO2 alarm going
Mhm,
off. And like
mhm.
I'm like, why is nobody like leaving the building? Like the CO2 alarm's going off. No, it was the freaking parrot that they had behind the desk.
All right then.
It sounded so real though.
Yeah.
Like so real. Yeah. Karen's
I don't
like,
fuck with birds, so you're on your own there. All right. Next question for you. You only get two, so don't worry. Don't worry. Um, what movie do you wish you could watch again for the first time?
I mean, my favorite movies is the How to Train Your Dragon series.
Those are
Like, it's the best. I'm a nerd. Um, so probably do the first one just because you get to live with the thrill again. Is he gonna
"Hmm,
kill it?
good. Yeah.
Is he gonna kill the dragon? Like, I remember when I watched that for the first time. And then I somehow entirely lost all memory of watching it after that, and I don't know why.
hmm, hmm."
But then I rewatched it again like years and years later, and I like remembered that I had watched it somehow. Yeah, I had forgotten it existed.
What about you, Nicole? What movie do you wish you could watch for the first time again?
Oh boy. I mean, there's so many good movies. For the first time again. Ugh, I'm gonna say toss up between Boondock Saints and Reservoir Dogs. Like, because I
That's
feel
a tough
like the
one.
very first time that I watched them, I wasn't really like really paying attention, And so like I kind of not missed it, but I missed the intensity and like just how awesome they were.
Yeah.
Because I remember after I watched both of those, I was like, yeah, they were all right. I'm like, what? They were all right? No, they were fucking good. So yes, I would say those two. What about you,
Nice.
Karen?
A toss up for me as well. Also, Boondock Saints, because I'm
Okay.
deeply, deeply obsessed with that movie. They're coming out with a third one finally. And then the other one, it's a really depressing movie, but it's a really beautiful story. And I probably watched it for the first time when I was way too like I had no business watching it. So I feel like I'd have a much different perspective on it now. But it's What Dreams May Come, and it's a very not well known Robin Williams movie, but I loved it.
Oh, huh. I'm
It's
gonna have
really
to look
depressing.
at it now.
It's
Yeah.
really depressing. Like you have to be in the right headspace, but it's a beautiful message in that movie. So We did
All
it.
right.
We did
We
our
did it.
icebreakers that you always wanna skip right over.
I know. I know.
So,
I'm gonna check on the puppy.
sure.
She went quiet. I don't like it.
Oh, it's terrifying
Quiet, quiet
puppies.
puppies are no good. They're up to no good if there's quiet in the house.
Really wanna watch What Dreams May Come Again, but I think I only have it on, like, DVD, and I don't own a DVD player anymore. See if Amazon has it.
I mean, I'm sure it's on television. You don't have any like streaming things, Karen?
I do, but it's such an obscure movie.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on everything.
It is? Oh, yeah, Apple
Yeah.
TV. Oh, but you have to rent or buy it. See, and I don't wanna rent or buy it. I just
It says on Apple. I don't see it on Apple here. This says YouTube, Google, Amazon, Fandango. Fandango?
does anybody actually even use Fandango?
Nope. I don't. I don't. But if it says it's on Apple, then let me know. No, it's not on Apple.
It says
It's
it's on the Apple TV, rent or buy.
I don't see that. I see available on YouTube, Google Play, Amazon, and Fandango.
Yeah, I just see Apple TV, Google, and Vudu. Whatever the fuck
Oh.
that was. Here, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Oh. Prime. Oh, Apple TV, $3.99. Well, I have Apple.
I do too, but I don't wanna buy it.
Oh, weird.
Bill's gonna be deeply confused that I'm logging into his. He's gonna get like a weird notification and like somebody has logged into your.
All right. So, hi, puppy.
Oh, what a
She's a
puppy!
better.
That's a big
I
puppy.
think she seems jealous that Sparrow gets the yogurt bowl and she does not.
Oh. So, all right. So let's kick it off.
Do this.
Karen, do you want to start? If not, I can start. I have some actual questions from our Instagram audience.
How many of them were from Heidi?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that they were all from Heidi.
Love Heidi though. Love her.
Mm,
So, well, I think before we dive into like new questions, I think we should. I think a lot of what you said in your introduction needs to be talked about and deeply applauded because I, well, I do remember where I was when I was 21, but I don't remember what I wanted to do when I was 21. And I think that's a truly amazing thing to be young and not sure of a decision. So, what is it about dog training or working with dogs that brings you so much joy?
I don't really know. It it just became this special interest that I have. I'm autistic a little bit. Um, and it was the one thing that stuck that I just became addicted to doing. I just love breaking down behaviors and problem solving them. And I love the joy that my dogs have when I'm working with them, and it makes me feel happy to work with them. And yeah, just like everything about it.
Oh, Nicole, have you?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're good.
I just hit the button by accident.
I was
Whoops.
like,
So, yeah.
no, I think that's really cool. And I think that's like that's what dog working with dogs is being able to break
Right.
down behaviors and help them make better choices. I think that's really cool.
I think too, like I mean, it sounds so dumb, but I think Karen's face. But I think what you just said, like people don't actually go into dog training wanting to do that first, like wanting to break down behaviors. It's almost like I want to train a dog and then I'll learn about breaking down body language or, really kind of like diving into things and it's almost backwards
Mm,
and then I feel like that's where you see a lot of people get stuck because they haven't approached dog training necessarily from like this really robust problem solving aspect. It's just I want to teach a dog to do XYZ, right? Or I want to fix a dog. But there's so much that goes into it. And I think for you, like starting, you know, having that presence of mind to start with that, I think will serve you really well.
Yeah, when I started, it was with our 10 to 11-year-old lab, Lupo. And I just really wanted, I had learned some stress signals from dogs and I was seeing them from him. And I didn't want to see him stressed. I wanted him to be happy. And he was also just always in the house. He never really did anything. Like he could be active, but nobody was doing anything with him. He was just an in-house pet that hung around and he always laid at my mom's feet.
I adore when any of like our dogs or our guest dogs or any of our pets want to be involved in this, especially your cat. The last time we recorded, he was
Crazy.
like, I'm going to be in this, and that's that.
Yeah. I made sure
Mm.
that his automatic feeder had food in it tonight. At least got a little bit of food to hopefully tide him over, because if not, he would be out the door scratching and meowing and, you know, doing all his crazy things that he does.
All right. So yes, I wanted to build a better bond with our family dog and give him a little bit more one-on-one time and just like make him a little happier, because playing around all day is
Mhm.
not really what a dog should be doing. And of course, he was old; he couldn't really do much. But I did teach him like a lot. I taught him a lot for a 10-year-old dog and a brand like when I started, it was every day. I trained every day with him. I was watching videos every day. I was studying all of it and I like memorized everything. And so it would definitely became an obsession. I just love to journal everything and video everything. Um, and break stuff down and whatever else. Um,
That's a
and then
skill in and of itself, being
Right.
able to write it
Yeah.
all down and video it. And that is ultimately what's going to make you an even better dog trainer.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Having that ability to like go back through things and see what you wrote down at the time, and then like rewatching something and see if you catch something else. Like, I wish we did that like way back in the day.
I just wish I could understand my notes after the session. I'm like, what the hell? That's not a word, Karen. What are you doing? But
I mean, I'm barely able to catch like, I mean, you saw that video that I made, Karen. Like, it's not good.
well, you know what it's
I
like texting. You both know what it's like having a text conversation with me. It's tragic. You have to decipher what I'm trying to say. So good for you for being able to journal. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah. And again, to start off with that level of insight and that level of, I'm not trying to like disparage anybody that gets into training,
Oh,
but I just find that a lot of times, especially now, that people get into training and then this stuff comes after. And
like they
it's
just
like,
want to get the dog to do things.
yeah,
yes, very much so.
yeah.
You want to dive into some of your questions, Nicole?
Sure. um question from our listener audience on Instagram. Thank you, Heidi, for submitting a question. So, Heidi would like to know your thoughts on pursuing certification, and which do you think that you'll do? How do you think you'll prepare? All of that stuff.
So right now, I have my eyes on Gene Donaldson's Dog Training Academy. I've had my eye on that one for a little while. Um, that's kind of the one I'm working towards,
Mhm.
like financially wise. Um, I just would not feel comfortable like with the limited knowledge I've gotten from either from a very small experience and the internet of trying to work other people's dogs. Because a lot of the times, even with my own dogs, I'm experimenting.
Right.
I'm experimenting with things that work and things that don't work, and they're very forgiving because they're my dogs. But I don't want to be doing that kind of things with other people's dogs while I'm trying to figure out different ways that dogs will work. Um, so, and then of course all the nuances behind everything that makes training work. And also, I know believe most certifications, they also teach you how to work with people as well, which is something I would also want to have to actually maybe have some insight in how
Mhm.
I can talk to people about this kind of stuff, about working with their dog and getting the results they want. Um, I have friends who do train people's dogs and they don't have any certification. They have like accumulated years of experience
Mhm.
working with their own dogs and with other people's dogs, and they do well and they do fine. But I don't feel comfortable doing anything of the sort without something behind me.
That's great.
That's amazing. That's not just
Yeah.
great. That's huge to have
Amazing.
the new generation of dog trainers coming up leading with that instead
Right.
of the I've had dogs my whole life mentality. I think that's so cool. And I think that's you're gonna be not trying to apply any pressure or anything, but I think you're gonna be like an inspiration to a lot of people
Yeah.
that do it the right way. No
Yeah.
Mhm.
pressure.
Yeah. I mean, you're not
But
going into it like, oh, I want to, build my dog training brand on social media.
oh hell no.
Oh, hell no. Right. But I mean, that's kind of where we're at though right now in this industry. And it's
Mm,
horrible. Horrible. We just
mm,
referred to it a little while ago as the dumpster fire because that's what it is. But I think having more people, like what Karen said, more people approach it like you are, whereas, again, you're approaching it from this inquisitiveness and, kind of wanting to know how and why things work versus I just want to do the thing. Um,
mm.
I think that's great.
I think too, what I thought was, or what I think is really cool is that you do all of these really cool things with your dogs, which is fantastic. And a lot of people do that. But there's a really important thing that you're doing with them that not a lot of people are doing. And you're focusing a lot on the fitness aspect of your dogs. And you're not just asking them to do these giant leaps off of docks without making sure they're physically able to do that. And I think that is so commendable.
Yeah, I even in the very, very beginning, our old dog Lupo was very arthritic. He probably had hip dysplasia. He didn't move around and he didn't move around very well. He could, but he just not very well. So one of the things I started with him was trying to help him strengthen, which I did with YouTube videos and some like freebies that I found online of like Bobby Lyons freebies. Um, like there's like canine fitness freebies like all over the internet where they give you like basic exercises. So I was doing some of that with him, and I did do a little bit with Vesper as well as a puppy. But I gotta tell you, having a fitness coach is so much better. They can see everything and they have so much more experience. I just had our fitness evaluation for Vesper this morning,
Oh, cool.
and she actually instead of a lot most of the time we progress our sessions and maybe some exercises we'll have to back up a bit because either the form's not good or she's we see that she's struggling, so we introduce a
Mm,
different exercise. Um this last session, she's actually lessened the reps on a lot of Vesper's exercises because we want to focus more on the form, and we've noticed she's getting tired really fast with the amount of
mm,
reps that we have. So that's really, really good to have. I'm really, really glad I found her, which is why I love the internet. She's in the UK.
Oh, no way.
oh,
I
nice.
work with a fitness instructor in the UK. I found her on Instagram. I have found so many things through the internet and Instagram that I would never have heard of otherwise. There's so many resources out there, and I would not have had any of that without it. So
Mm,
yes, the fitness is something I started very, very early on. It's just within the last couple of years it's been a very big focus, especially because I want to do things with my dogs.
right.
I think so many people just go, "Oh, it's a dog." You can immediately go out and do all of these things. And
Mhm.
they still have a body that still needs to be maintained and taken care of and
Hmm.
properly handled. And I think you're spot on too with the idea of like the benefits of the internet and social media because CJ's fitness person was in Canada. There's
Mm,
nobody around me that offers
right.
that stuff. but I worked with this wonderful human up in Canada. And I love that the internet is allowing us to do better by our dogs. Not always. We're making
Yeah.
slow steps.
Yeah. So that leads me. So one of the things, Colleen, that you brought up in the information that we talked about, like, bringing you in on an episode. Um, sorry, that was my brain. That was my brain. Just woo. Um, was some of the challenges that you had with Vesper. So do you want? I mean, do you feel okay with going into some of these things, and then maybe like how some of this training that you did do and are doing has helped with that?
Hmm. Yeah. So Vesper came from some family friends who had dogs. Well, like friends and friends got together and they had a litter of puppies. She's a lab golden mix. Um, and my dad went over and he visited them when they just happened to have the puppies there, and came back and was like, "Do you want one?" I said, "Sure,"
Yay!
knowing that a puppy would be um a better training prospect than our aged old boy.
Right.
So who I loved dearly. I love him so much. But puppy is a little bit more agile.
Oh yeah.
So um by the time she was 4 months old, it was becoming evident that something was wrong. She resource guarded and she would startle awake in her sleep from her sleep
Mm.
in an aggressive fit. She would charge at people in her crate. She would like resource guard her crate from me and from everybody else. Um, she was extremely hyper vigilant outside, could not function in our own backyard, which I live at my parents' house in the country. So it was just the neighbors and the tractors and whatever else. Just so not overstimulated, hyper vigilant all the time. And all she wanted to do was run back in the house and be in the house. Um, so it's something I couldn't figure out what I had done wrong because this is a puppy, and I was trying. Of course, I was training her with a positive reinforcement based program that I was following, that I had followed with my boy Lugo, and she was making progress in that. We're making progress in in various other places, but there were these issues. Um, and it wasn't until she was close to a year old that I discovered a behaviorist through Instagram. Discovered a behaviorist on Instagram who I could afford to have a session with and chat about Vesper and figure out what we could do to help her. So I did that, and I was also, I know, even like before that, I was experimenting with ways to try and boost her confidence
Hmm.
and get her to be engaged. Because a lot of the times I just thought, well, she just needs to be amped up. I just need to get her to be playful, and then she'll be okay. But it just puts, even right now, if you put pressure on her to perform, it's going to be a no go.
Hmm.
Absolutely not. Do not pressure her to perform, even now, because then those same behaviors will pop up, the aggression. So I did have a session with her, and I had a plan in place. Shortly after I moved out of my family's house into this apartment, and things got a lot better because she wasn't living in a super busy environment. That was my family's house. She could sleep
Hmm.
soundly without a constant noise. Because I don't know if you either of you know, I'm one of 9 kids. I'm the oldest of 9. So I
Okay.
mean,
So that's a
at the time there were 7.
busy
At the
environment.
time there were 8. Huh?
So that's a busy environment for sure.
Very busy environment. It was a big house, big yard. So it was very busy all the time. And also, we were all homeschooled too, so we were home all the time. Um, so yes, moving to this apartment and her getting sleep, and then also just having her. mm, I guess one time her with age she's gotten better. With age she's just kind of matured and gotten better with especially the nervousness and the anxiety and the hypervigilance, which she still is a little bit, but it's much, much, much less.
Mm.
Um, and being able to have her out and about more and more helps to acclimate her more and more. Um, but yeah, honestly, one of the biggest things was she just literally needed sleep and to be able to not be stimulated
Right.
all the time. That was definitely one of the biggest factors. Um, Trick training, I was doing that entire time. She had already had like 2 or 3 titles by the time I moved
Hmm.
to my apartment. Well, actually, I think she had her 4 base titles. She was all the way up to expert trick dog by the time I moved. And then when I moved, we got her all her masters titles and her champion title for trick dog. Um,
Mm.
and another thing I did before I moved was, I believe, in 20, I don't know if my timeline is right, 2021 or 2022, I discovered the Fenley Academy and started nose work with her
Okay.
because
Yep.
it was somewhat mentioned that some nervous dogs become more confident with nose work. Um, One of the things with nose work is that they have to go into a brand new environment, cold, and work. Like just straight up go in there and work. There's no acclimation into the environment before. You have to just go straight in and work. There was some work I had to do with her to get her to that point, just some extra engagement games and just letting her, taking her to many places and acclimating her to new places and then starting nose work drills in those
Hmm.
new places. So that was all the way up until her ORT, odor recognition test through the NACSW,
Yep.
which I was just absolutely flabbergasted at how well she did. The ORT is just a line of 12 white boxes, and you have to find the one with the hide, right? This was on the one we went to was on a slippery baseball, not baseball, basketball gymnasium in school. And she went in there cold and had good engagement with me, was not nervous at all. Of course, she wanted to say hi to the people on the sidelines. She's very, very friendly. Um, and then she got those hides in seconds.
Yeah.
She got them in seconds. So that was really, really big. That was a couple of years ago. We have 2.5 nose work titles since then, working on her advanced in the UKC. And we attempted her in the MW2, but did not quite make it. But in any
Well,
case,
that's still quite the impressive rap sheet she's got.
I mean, Peter and I have not even made it to the ORT yet. So, I mean, we just,
it took me a year. It took me a year, Nicole,
oh, I
before
mean,
I got over there.
we're so just something to do together versus, I mean, we took the summer off and everything too, um, but I do feel like the combination of, like, for you continuing and doing all that trick stuff and then bringing in also the nose work on top of it, like those two things, like that is helping the dog build confidence, even if we don't think about it
Mm-hmm.
in that respect, right? Um, and so I love doing stuff like that for dogs that do have some behavior struggles, and we want to build up some confidence in them because those types of sports are wholly dependent on them having agency in doing what they're doing, right? Like you were saying, like you can't force her to do something. I mean, you can't really, I mean, I guess you can force a dog to do some tricks, but it's like you want them to want to try new things, which is where the confidence comes in, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I have enough understanding that I can control what I'm doing to some extent that I'm willing to try things. And so I feel
Mm-hmm.
like trick training is a lot about that because you have to be in there and you have to be exploring things and you have to be trying things and you know getting the dog to want to put their feet up on weird things or move their bodies in weird ways. Um, and the same with nose work. Like I can't just like force Peter to sniff something out.
Well,
Like it doesn't work.
I think
You know what
too,
I mean?
I think it's kind of an interesting. I've been trying to figure a way to say this without making it seem like we want to deceive people because that's not what we want. But I think a lot of times it can be kind of like a bridge where people we need to fix this behavior in my dog. We need
Mhm.
to do something about it. And if we go, oh, let's do nose work, like they're gonna think, oh, we're doing something to make this
Right.
better.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And like it's not just the idea of obedience to fix the problem, but people can see a tangible change versus just asking a dog to do the engage disengage game, you know.
Mhm.
So I think there's so many outlets that we need to
Yeah.
explore.
Well, and two, like as I mean, I'm sure Colleen can attest to too, as you move up in nose work too. I mean, they're not just little white boxes on the floor in the line anymore. I mean, they're having to Peter was like halfway climbing up ladders and like doing all sorts of stuff, trying to, get to source on some of the odors. And it's like, again, like I could force him, I could pick him up and put his feet up on a ladder, but it's like I want him to have the confidence in himself that he feels okay to explore that in a
Mhm.
positive way and that he's going to, have a good outcome and all of that. So I feel like a lot of times we miss those things. Like we miss how important stuff like that is. Just like people miss sometimes how important it is to do the fitness work before we start agility or do the fitness work before we do dock
Or
diving.
go to the vet before we start a behavior modification plan. Just
Yes,
gonna throw
true,
that one
true,
in there.
Mm.
true. Yeah. So I mean, did you like make a conscious effort, like a conscious like, oh, I want to try this to help with Vesper's XYZ? Or was it just this is another thing that we could do that maybe might help her like hypervigilance or
Um,
might help?
it was something I was interested in doing just for the sake of doing it, but I also wanted to see if it would help
Mhm.
with her environmental nervous and hypervigilance and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit of that.
I
I
mean,
wanted to say, Karen, um, about going to the vet before starting a behavior plan. It's sometimes it's weird just because the vets, I mean, wonderful, they're wonderful, but not all of them can. I don't think all of them really understand like the full
yeah.
depth of it. The first thing my vet said was say her. That was the only thing she said. And
That's
the two, and also the expense of possibly um getting a vet behaviorist on board is absolutely out of budget.
For most people.
yeah.
For
Yes.
for most people. Yeah.
So
Which
yeah,
is unfortunate.
knowing that she is a healthy dog, like I've gotten a thyroid test on her. That's like the one behavioral specific thing where she was normal. I got a thyroid test for her, but other than that, it was she's healthy. She's perfectly fine. Her brain just her genetics and her brain just are not
Yeah.
typical and don't work the way that a normal dog would. So yeah,
Did Do you know if any of the other puppies in that litter also had issues, problems,
no
struggles?
idea. I have no contact information for them.
I'm always curious
So
about that.
I always
me
think
too.
that too. I always wonder about like CJ's brothers and sisters. I'm like, were they reactive as well? Like,
Mm.
what's going on? I wish we could like
Yeah,
just know those things.
yeah. I know one day. I mean, her mom was bred more than once. I don't know if it was the same sire. And they just said, yeah, they like the dogs and they're friendly. So yeah, they're good. They would make good puppies, good pet puppies. So,
Well,
um,
I'm happy. I'm glad that she wound up with you.
you know what's kind of crazy? I have to tell you, I don't. It's funny. So when I went to pick her up, I was run up with this stampede of black and brown lab puppies. It was very cute. And um the friend came and they knew I wanted a female and I wanted a black one. So they picked up a puppy. So a black puppy Czech. It was a girl and said, "Here, do you want this one?" And so I like picked her up and I held her, and then I put her down. None of these puppies have collars on. You have a mix of identical looking puppies, and you put down one of the black ones, and then when I went to go like pick one back up to take home, I don't actually know if it was the same one that they handed me. I judged by the size. 'Cause they handed me probably the biggest puppy that was there. Judged by the size, and I was like, yeah, I'll just pick up this one and go. Purely fate. Might have been
Mhm.
purely fate.
Yep.
I really believe in that. I'm a firm believer in we get the dog we're meant to have, not the
Yep.
dog we wanted, as it were.
Absolutely.
Because if we all just got, and granted, look, yes, in a perfect world, I would love for us all to just get these perfect magical Disney dogs with no problem. I'd be out of a job, but that's fine. But then we don't learn anything about ourselves. We don't learn and
Right.
grow and change. And I think, not to put any, wasn't really planning on asking like this kind of question, but if you want to answer it, like for me, CJ certainly has taught me patience, like an unbelievable amount of patience. But what would you say Vesper has taught you?
Okay, I'm just gonna check first. How's my audio? Because one of my earbuds died.
Okay,
That's
Is
good.
it
You're
good?
good. Yep.
Okay, just checking. I
thank
don't
you.
know where my charger went. Um. Oh gosh. Vesper, what have you taught me? Um. Come here. You wanna go?
Aw, what a moment! Like when you ask that, and then you just or she just come to run off. We don't deserve dogs.
I mean, and just literally just looking at you two right now and reading this information that you sent me or sent us. Sorry, Karen. I keep forgetting you're here. But reading like this information that you sent and then seeing you two right now, like I would not think you were talking about the same dog at all.
About all her issues that she had.
Yeah. Um, just like this resource
I would
guarding
say
and the personal space and things like that. Like,
which are still there. It's very much still there at a much more manageable level. And it's
mhm.
like not a constant thing. Sarah, you're really loud. Are you mad? Mm.
Well, I think also you just saying that is a huge thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration with dogs. That yes, we can work on these behaviors, but they're always going to be a part of that dog. They're never, no matter what
Mhm.
type of training you do, those behaviors are always going to be a part of your dog. And so many people want to, I don't want to say assume, but they want to say, I fixed this behavior, it's no longer there. But that's not how it works. So I think it's
Right.
beautiful that you just said those behaviors are still there. It's just more manageable.
That's much more
Mhm.
manageable. Um, yeah, especially if I know that if she's had a long day, if we've gone to a trial, if we went to an event somewhere, that she may be more stressed, and so if she's more stressed, certain behaviors are going to come out again. That one of the new things we tried recently was rally. She has her
Mm.
rally novice title. The rally trial we went to was massive because there was a full confirmation trial happening in the same building.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I will not be doing that again.
Mm.
Yeah, no.
Jasper did not have a good time. She was well, barking and aggressing at the crate when I put her back in. She worked in the ring and she worked well. We got some points off for some sniffing the floor, but overall she worked very well in that type of freshman environment that was like loud and busy. Um, well, the baby dog's climbing the gate.
Yep, take care.
He
Do
did
what you
that.
gotta do.
Um,
It's just the amount of pressure we put on our dogs. It's wild, but they
Yeah.
always do it. They always perform, you know? Well, maybe not
I
always. I
mean,
don't want to speak
they
in.
try.
They try.
They try.
Oh, she's still there? Oh no.
Nope.
Oh
Um, yeah. I think to your point, I think that's where the education piece comes in, right? With
Yeah.
training, is that you have to understand what behavior is. And once you understand what behavior is, you can understand what it isn't. And what it isn't is something that you can just shut off like a light bulb.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we want to see it out there, as much as we got all of those, TikTok-y people out there that
Mhm.
will be like, oh, well, I fixed this dog's XYZ. We could talk until the cows come home about, well, you've suppressed the behavior you didn't like. That doesn't mean that you addressed the underlying concerns that resulted in the behavior. And I feel like brain, again, shut off, completely dead, just stopped middle of the thought.
Well, I think
Done.
too, it's not just the people that suppress behavior. I think sometimes it's even in the forest-free community that we can talk about. Like, I see a lot, and it really irritates me when somebody is like, my dog used to be reactive and he isn't anymore. What are we giggling about?
Look at them. Look at them giving each other kisses down there.
Oh my god.
So it looks cute. Vesper's being a little guardy,
Oh,
but
Oh,
they're
still
good. She's submissive, and so she takes submissive, and we coexist.
I love that. I feel like that's Rosie. Rosie is the biggest licker. She will just, and like, I can't, like, I don't mind a dog like giving me a kiss, sign me up all day long, but like dog drool,
Mm.
I can't. I will
But
just.
again, sorry, Karen. But again, I just want to highlight how at 21 years old, how brilliant and astute you are about what you're seeing there. Like
Phenomenal.
it blows my mind, honestly. So
Thank you.
All the kudos to you because there are people that have spent their entire life that are 56 years old right now and couldn't say what you just said.
I'm glad 50 years old is their entire life. That's great.
You're not, I don't, you're like, I understand you think you're this old, haggard woman, but
Well, I
you're
mean,
not,
I am.
okay? But you're not.
Yeah.
I refuse to allow you to believe that.
I mean, I hope that 50 isn't my entire life because I got lots of stuff. I got places to go,
I'm
things to
taking
see.
a weird turn here, but I've never felt that like I'm gonna live past like 60. So for me, 50, 60 is the entire life. Like I've just always had this vibe that like that's where we're
Okay.
getting, you know?
You're
I
done. You need to
digress.
get off the bed. Vesper, you need to get off the bed. You could be
People are
gnawing.
looking at me like, maybe, but I don't want to. Aw.
Vesper has opinions about Sparrow being on the bed.
And that's okay. Everybody has their
Mhm.
opinions, right?
They love each other, I promise.
Yeah.
I think it's like any sibling relationship. If I love my sister, but I don't always like her,
Mhm.
you know? So, and we have to let our dogs have those same vibes.
Yeah.
Mm,
Do
So,
you have another
yes.
question, Karen? Because I got a question.
I'll go for it then. Yeah, no.
Um, so
Do you have a
again,
question?
brain. Oh my God, brain.
Then you just pick up a notebook and look
Brain.
at it.
I did. I did. I totally looked at Heidi's next question and I still didn't really read it.
Not Heidi's next question. It is a completely separate person.
So a completely different Heidi that is a fan on Instagram. So did I know this? Did I know that you do some stuff for shelters already? Did I know that?
I don't, well, yes, I do. I
Where
volunteer.
this question is going, Nicole, but
Yes.
okay.
Okay. So Heidi wants to know what are some of the things that you have learned working in a shelter environment or volunteering in a shelter environment.
Oh, well, my job in the shelter as a volunteer is mainly to just give the dogs some enrichment outside of the kennel, mainly a walk in the trail that they have right there, or some cuddle time in the visiting rooms. I do try to maybe work on a little bit of training with them as well. What? You have a lump and I don't like it. What was that?
Is it a tick? Is it a tick? No.
And
Do you guys do you have ticks out there?
they're a tiny little bump, like a pimple. Um, very off topic. Uh, so yeah, I'm mostly walking the dog. Sometimes I will bring some extra treats and I'll play some like impulse control games. I'll play some handling games. So like one of the ones is grab a collar, give a cookie,
Mhm.
get them used to people's hands coming to their head. Um, I did mainly join the shelter because I wanted the experience with the dogs,
Mhm.
be able to work with some of them. And so I have learned some more like learning styles of dogs, of how they learn. I've gotten to attempt to uh, try and get some nervous dogs warmed up to me, try and get them to approach me in the kennel because some of them do not. Some of them they do not want a leash or a collar near them.
Mhm.
They don't want you to touch them. So I have done that a couple of times. Most of the dogs in there are very outgoing, very rambunctious. Um, yeah, mostly I have learned some of the learning styles of the dogs. I'll probably get to learn a little bit more about them with the new program that they have for volunteers. Now they've just started offering the doggy day out program because previously,
Oh.
if somebody was going to take a dog out of the shelter and off of the grounds, it was only a very trusted volunteer or staff
Mhm.
that could do that. They have now started a program where approved volunteers who like sign papers and are in good standing and have kept up with their hours, we get to do 4 hours a month,
Mm.
unless you give a reason and then unless you give a reason you can't be there that amount of time, which I have done and they've been fine. Um, you can now take the dogs out of the shelter like all day. A couple hours all day, as long as you bring them back by a certain time, and you have to tell them where you're going and what you plan on doing with the dog. So that is
That's
a new
fun.
one that they started. I've done that with one dog. Um, so it's pretty chill. We have a very, very good shelter. They are pretty full. It's a small shelter compared to some others.
Mm.
It is pretty full. Um, and yeah, I like being able to like experiment on the dogs a little bit and figure out how they want to work and how to motivate them just to do like some easy things. And it helps them to learn things so that potential adopters, if they attempt to try and get them to do things, they
Right.
will have a little bit more practice because they've been doing like little training things with volunteers and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say the main thing is learning the learning styles of the individual dogs and um, learning how to be slow and calm around the nervous ones and get them to approach you on their own time and not
Yeah.
to try and force that on them at all.
That's a great program though. I wish that other or a lot of other shelters were able to do things like that, like those day outs or even like, the overnights. Um
Mm-hmm.
just to get the dogs out of that environment, but then like you're saying, you kind of get to learn a lot more about the dogs too
Mm-hmm.
that way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if
Yeah, because
all we're seeing.
the volunteers can even bring the dogs to their house, depending
Mm,
on if that dog. Some of the dogs there aren't allowed to be with other dogs. They're rated to not be around other dogs. So if it depends on if you have other pets in your home, but they are able to even go into a home environment and have some decompression there, and you can learn a lot about them in the home environment and see how they
yeah,
react. It's all really good information for the shelter.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Karen, you got a question?
I do. Not necessarily about shelter dogs, but kind of more back. We've talked a little bit about it, about social media and internet and all that fun stuff. But I want to kind of get your take on how you feel about dog training on social media. Because recently, maybe not like super recently, I didn't exactly check the date, but you had shared a reel about when you occasionally use a head halter with your dog,
Mhm.
and that can be a very touchy subject. I thought you handled the comments very beautifully. But how do you kind of deal with the social media aspect of life with dogs?
You don't have to answer anybody.
Oh, I love that.
You
Mhm.
literally don't. That's why my mom says, she says, you don't really have to answer anybody. You know, like, yeah, I know, but sometimes it's just fun.
Yes.
You can mess with them
It
Sometimes
is.
it
a little
is.
bit.
It is. It
Or
is
you can
fun
mess with
sometimes.
people a little bit. You'll be a little bit sarcastic, even though sarcasm's not my strong point. But you know what's great about that is that you don't have to. I mean, some people will say, well, this is like the advantage is that you don't have to answer everybody up front. You just, but it's like it's a lot easier for people like me to be able to actually think about how I want to answer you and not have to be like up front. I have to give you an answer right now about this
Right.
thing that you've asked about, and it's like a very pushy question. Are you okay? Really?
It's real life. It's real life. We're capturing real
Uh,
life right now.
We also just talked
why?
about what a great measured
Mhm.
little reaction that was, and that goes into the work that you've done. So I love it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, look at the little.
Exactly.
Oh, did you
Like
see what
sometimes
she
it's
did
just
to me?
you're so mean. Yeah, sometimes she seems very unreasonable because she likes to correct like every movement another dog makes. Even if it's not around a specific thing, she's very, very touchy in that aspect. So it took a full month to get Vesper and Sparrow in the same room together,
Mm.
without like baby gates and everything. So anyways, where were we again?
Well, we were just talking about how you don't have to immediately respond to
Oh yeah, yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And another thing is anybody you can anybody can give advice on the internet about anything and say that they're like a professional at it. And I will never say that I know what I'm doing and you should do things this way with your dog. I say this is what works. This is what works for mine. This is how I do it. Feel free to try it if you want to. Um, but yeah, it's each dog is way way too nuanced to be able to
Mm.
ever give any kind of advice to people because people will message me and ask me like, hey, help me with well not help me but do you have any ideas for this and this and this, and I will give very very general information about what I know about the subject, but I would never try and give people very specific advice about their dog.
I love that. I think that's very
Mhm.
wise and impressive take. You know.
Right. Yep.
Um,
Oh my goodness.
so
I mean,
as
it's
I,
Can I take it off now? Take
right,
it off. No, go off. Ellie, take it off, please. Take it off. Thank you.
and then just I'm gonna spread out over here, just
right.
right there. Thank you so much. Um, do you have any other questions, Nicole?
Um. Nope.
Is there anything that you really want to share and we didn't touch on? Anything like that that you want to add on?
The perfect dog isn't going to be perfect in everybody else's eyes. Your dog may be perfect for you. It's not going to be perfect for everybody else. Vesper is very much a me dog. She no, I will tell you, there's few people that actually like her in real life
Oh.
because of some issues. The dog people love her. Like you get the dog people, and they love her and they understand her. Um, but like not everybody's gonna love your dog, even though they may be just perfect angels and everything, and like have a whole heart.
Hmm.
I love
And
that.
it's
And
just
that's okay. And that's okay. You love her. She loves you. You guys are doing your thing. I mean, you've clearly, done some really good work with her. And it's like, we don't exist here, or at least I don't, to like fulfill something for somebody else. Right. So it's
Mhm,
like, I don't do the things that I do to please somebody else,
mhm,
you know?
And
mhm,
our dogs aren't here for anybody else either. So
Right.
our dogs don't owe anyone anything, not even us.
Hmm.
And so as long as you have a relationship that works and you're happy with, everybody else can pound sand.
Right.
mhm,
Right. You're never going to please everybody. Right. So you're going to get people that are like, oh, what do you mean your dog still has issues? What
mhm.
do you
People ask my
mean?
dog. not my dog. People ask me all the time, "Well, when are you done training your dog? Is your dog like trained yet? Are you still doing the training?" It's life,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
It's just life.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
love it. She loves it. Our favorite bonding time is when we do tech training or like rally training or anything else like that. She absolutely loves it.
Yeah. And that's good that you found that.
I just I can't thank you enough for sharing all of this with us. I think sometimes when we have to look into those dark corners that we don't necessarily want to admit, especially as dog trainers or aspiring dog trainers, we don't like to admit that there's quote unquote something wrong with our dog. So I think being able to share that is going to help a lot of people. I think your outlook on all of this is
Mhm.
just outstanding.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really excited to follow your career and see where you end up. And when I don't know what the fancy titles or competitions are called, but when you're at one of the big ones one day, I'll be like, I knew her, and I can't, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
that was me. That was me the other day. One of my friends, she has a three-legged dog. He's a husky mix. Um, we both follow the same training program, so that's how we found each other, and we realized we both live in the same city.
Oh, cool.
So then we met up. But anyway, she went to the Rally Nationals, and her dog was the one dog with three legs there
Oh,
competing. So he's on the AKC website, like special
Oh,
little
yeah.
blog about that. You should look it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my
Heidi
gosh.
Heidi showed me that. Yeah.
You
Oh,
did,
how
yeah.
cool.
In the future, you guys should totally interview Elizabeth, like actually. Vet tech, tripod dog, um,
Well,
do it.
send her our way, or you can send me her Instagram link, and I can send her a message, or because that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was me. That it was like I know them. Those are my friends.
Oh, that's
They're
so
Cute.
cool.
famous. Look at them.
I love that.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you, Colleen, and I will second everything that Karen that Karen said. I just how in awe I am of where you're at at such a young age and how just open and embracing of learning things and exploring things you are. Like you're gonna go far. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your beginning
Thank
with
you so
us.
much.
My very beginnings, the pre-Instagram era.
I think it's
I didn't even
fantastic.
have a cell phone, you guys. I didn't have a cell phone then. All the videos I have of Vesper and Lupo at that time were taken on my little video camera with the SD card. I still have all the SD cards because I don't know what to do with
I mean, I started training and social media didn't really exist.
And
So
them.
what I would have given though,
I mean,
also,
we just started with MySpace, I think. Like just started with
oh
MySpace.
yeah,
Colleen's like, what the F is MySpace?
MySpace is
Don't
where
bother with
I've
it.
heard of
ev-
it. I have no idea
I've
what
heard of
it
it.
is.
it's where every millennial or anybody's anxiety started over the top eight. That was the worst. But I just think it's so cool that there's going to be so many people like you that have these videos to look back on. I mean, I would probably not, but I would kill for um, videos of when I started with CJ. So
Mhm.
you're ahead of the curve. You got this.
Awesome.
Well, thank you
We got
so
there.
much. We did it.
Wonderful.
Finally, we got there.